Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. My name's Brian Sauer, and we talk about Blu-rays here. And today I am going to talk about a couple of indicator titles. I believe these are both Region B locked. So if you're in the States, you would need a multi-region player to play these, but it would definitely be worth your time to have one if you don't already have one. So let me start with one of my favorites that I've enjoyed for a long time and was really excited to see Kino Lorber put this out on Blu-ray a few years back. It's They Might Be Giants from 1971. This is the Kino version. But even better is this new indicator version of They Might Be Giants, directed by Anthony Harvey, starring George C. Scott and Joanne Woodward. It is a delightful film and a cult item for sure. And once you see it, you will totally understand why it has the cult following that it has. The idea is basically that George C. Scott plays a man who believes he is Sherlock Holmes. And as such, his brother is trying to get him put away because he has a controlling interest in a bunch of money, and if he can get him declared insane, then he can get the money. So that's definitely one of the sort of subplots. And then he sort of hires a doctor, or runs into a doctor played by the great Joanne Woodward, named Watson. And she becomes fascinated with him, and they have this whole adventure all across, early 70s New York, very dirty old New York, that is, in and of itself, that journey through New York is wonderful, just to see the city at that time. But also, it's really wonderful to see these actors doing such a quirky role, sort of plot and characters, and I just really enjoy them together. I pulled out my copy of Danny Perry's Guide for the Film Fanatic. I'll just read his little section on it. He says, uplifting comedy about a brilliant man, George C. Scott, who's convinced he's Sherlock Holmes and dresses and acts the part. His brother wants to have him institutionalized so he can grab his money, so he hires a psychiatrist, Dr. Mildred Watson, Joanne Woodward, to analyze him. And as Watson follows Holmes on his adventurous trail through New York City in a search of his possibly imaginary Moriarty, she begins to believe that he really is Holmes. They become quite a team, and the film takes on a special dimension. It becomes irrelevant whether or not he is Holmes. We have instead a story of two lonely people who find their ideal companions, who see their grand qualities in each other that no one else is aware of, who believe in each other, who are there for each other. They can exist in a private, exciting world. James Goldman adapted the script from his play while it runs out of steam towards the end, although the final scene is quite interesting and has its fill of silly and pretentious moments. It is really quite touching. Also, the pairing of heavyweights Scott and Woodward is to be treasured, as Scott's one male friend, Jack Guilford, also has some nice moments, particularly when the timid fellow reveals his dreams of being the Scarlet Pimpernel. The direction by Anthony Harvey, a specialist with actors, is a bit sloppy, but it's surprising the film doesn't have a larger following among cultists who crave nonconformist characters. It is also surprising that no one ever used the premise for a television series. Also true. I am fascinated by that fact. So this has some nice features, but let's look at the essay first. We have a, let's see here, 36-page booklet featuring a new essay by Chloe Walker, an account of Anthony Harvey's career as an actor, editor, and director, overview of contemporary critical responses. So another nice booklet you get always with the limited edition first pressings of the Indicator Blu-rays. Chloe Walker, ersatz and saccharin, a veritable miasma of mush. No film with pretensions of this one has the right to be so stupid. One of the most unendurable hour and a halves you're likely to encounter, as lethal as carbon monoxide. When They Might Be Giants was first released in the summer of 1971, it was not exactly met with a glowing reception. The presiding emotion amongst critics was one of a skin-prickling irritation, with some positively nauseated by what they saw in the film's Christmas card cuteness. Even the kinder reviews emphasized the smallness of the whole affair, with Susan Topher from Photoplay acknowledging in her otherwise positive write-up, Scott and Woodward will probably not be remembered for this one. A prescient observation in Ethan Hawke's The Last Movie Stars HBO Max documentary, a critically acclaimed 6-hour series about the life and work of Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman, the film doesn't merit a single mention, and this is a documentary that covers even the most obscure of Woodward's TV movie output. They Might Be Giants was the immediate theatrical follow-up to both George C. Scott's 1971 Best Actor Academy Award for Patton and Anthony Harvey's Academy Award for The Lion in Winter, and yet remained a footnote in their careers. Not one is little loved upon release. In its years since, it's been almost totally forgotten, derided, then discarded. And then she goes into a whole lot more about the film. But I do think it's fascinating that it gets left out so much, because I think it's fantastic. And Perry really summed it up. It is the story of two lonely people who find each other. And I don't know about you, but that's the kind of story that I go for a lot, ultimately. So you have the same features as your Kino Blu-ray. You have the ported over audio commentary by director Anthony Harvey and film archivist Robert Harris. That is present on this disc, as is Madness It's Beautiful, which is a vintage featurette from the time. So you have those here, but you have a lot more. You have 2 presentations of the film, the original U.S. theatrical cut at 92 minutes and the U.K. theatrical cut at 87 minutes. You have that commentary. Then you have a new commentary with writers and film experts Barry Forshaw and Kim Newman, one of my favorite pairs to do commentaries out there, and they are great on this. Kim Newman is a particular Sherlock Holmes expert, and then there is another interview with him called A Study in Sherlock that's 27 minutes. That's just him going through all the various incarnations of Sherlock Holmes in cinema. It's amazing. It's great. But the commentary in particular I really enjoyed. Just a great discussion of the film and its players and its reception and all kinds of stuff. So really worth your time. And then you have the promotional documentary I mentioned, and the many screen adaptations. That's one thing. And then the trailer. So you have the multiple commentaries. You have Kim Newman on Sherlock Holmes. You have the promotional featurette. And it's just you've got a lot of stuff here to take in with a great movie. Now, again, this is Region B locked, but it is better than the Blu-ray you get from Kino. So I do recommend picking this one up, as it is a favorite of mine. Next up, we have one that came out around Christmas that I just got my hands on, and that is Remember the Night. And Remember the Night is from 1940. And this is a really great romantic comedy type movie, scripted by Preston Sturgis and directed by Mitchell Leisen, who would do a bunch of Sturgis scripts, including Midnight and Easy Living. These are both really great movies with that Preston Sturgis type dialogue and character, with just a different hand in the directorial seat before Preston Sturgis really got his footing. This one, what's it about? Well, it is about a couple, this woman played by Barbara Stanwyck, and a man played by Fred McMurray. And it is basically about, the man is an assistant DA, and he takes Barbara Stanwyck, who is a shoplifter who got caught in the act, home with him for Christmas. And the unexpected happens, love blossoms, etc., etc. But it's a really great role for both McMurray and Stanwyck. Stanwyck is playing that sort of tough, streetwise gal that she played so well. I'm thinking of tons of movies, but Ball of Fire for some reason comes to mind, Howard Hawks' film. But she's really great in this, and she and McMurray are really good. And this is the year before they broke out in Double Indemnity, which I also think is really interesting, that this film, is a teaming of them before that most notorious teaming. But it is a really delightful Christmas film, one that I had seen, but I also read about in Alonso Duralde's wonderful book, Have Yourself a Movie, Little Christmas, which is a fantastic guide to Christmas films. I couldn't find my copy. I was going to show it here, but I'll have to dig it up. It is really a great book and digs really deep on the Christmas films, movies that are sometimes not thought of as traditional Christmas movies, but take place during the holiday season and are just fantastic. He pulls out all the gems, like just a lot of my favorite Christmas movies that I've found in the last 5 years or so have been through that book. This one I had known about, but it is covered in the book, and it's a great recommendation there. So anyway, this is a beautiful, special edition box, hard box, with Remember the Night and a book. I mean, this is not a booklet. This is what they do with their hard boxes. They give you a full-on book, and it's beautiful. And it is, let's see here, 80-page book with a new essay by Rick Burren, archival interviews with cast and crew, articles on the careers of director Mitchell Leisen and screenwriter Preston Sturgis, and an overview of contemporary critical responses, etc. So it's a beautiful book that has all that. So Rick Burren's essay, let's see here. This is interesting because both these posit that the films in general are being sort of pushed aside as footnotes. This one opens with the line, "Film history has tried to treat Remember the Night as a footnote. The story goes that writer Preston Sturges was so enraged by director Mitchell Leisen's changes to his screenplay that he sold his next script to Paramount for a mere $10 on the proviso that he be permitted to direct it. Having sealed that deal on The Great McGinty, he secured rave reviews and the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay and fired off his rapid succession of masterpieces, among them The Lady Eve, 1941, Sullivan's Travels, 41, Palm Beach Story, 42, Miracle at Morgan's Creek, 44, and Hail the Conquering Hero, 44. What a run that was, by the way. The story is true, but it omits one crucial fact. Remember the Night is every bit as good as, if not better than, Sturges' finest films as a director. While he would never have admitted it and apparently didn't believe it, the collision of his comic smarts and sly sentimentality with Leisen's lush romanticism and breathtaking visual sense took the two artists to heights they never reached anywhere else. So you get a sense of the rivalry there. The mercurial Sturges, who defined himself as an American humorist, working in film, was a screenwriter, playwright, restaurateur, engineer, and former perfume wholesaler. A globe-trotting childhood with a bohemian mother had inspired a literary style that showcased a French point of view, humor filtered through an American vocabulary. And this is an extensive essay that I'm excited to read the rest of. But that gives you a sense of this movie and the legend surrounding it. We also get a nice poster that comes with this, which I can't get out. Or actually, is it lobby cards? No, it's a poster. Yeah, it's a really nice poster. But anyway, so this is a great set and better than any U.S. release of this film. There is, I want to say, can't remember if Kino put this out or who did. I know I got it from like TCM Vault or something on Blu-ray, but this is definitely better. Let's just go through the features really quick here. We have high definition remaster. We have an audio commentary with film historian Adrian Martin. That's brand new. You May Laugh, You May Weep. 26 minutes. That's new also. Author and programmer Jeff Andrew revisits Remember the Night, exploring the contributions of writer Preston Sturges and director Mitchell Leisen. Outsider Status 2022, 26 minutes. Critic Pamela Hutchinson assesses the life and career of the iconic silver screen star Barbara Stanwyck. Lux Radio Theater Remember the Night performance. 1940, 55 minutes, radio adaptation, which finds Fred MacMurray and Stanwyck reprising their roles from the film. And the Lux Radio Theater Remember the Night, 1942, 54 minutes, second radio adaptation pairing MacMurray and Jean Arthur. Also a cool combo. I like that. Hollywood Victory Caravan, 1945, 20 minutes. Short promotional film starring Stanwyck and many other Hollywood names, including Humphrey Bogart, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Betty Hutton, and Alan Ladd. Original trailer, image gallery, new and improved English subtitles, and the aforementioned booklet. So a really nice edition of a holiday classic that deserves to be seen by more people, and that is Remember the Night from 1940. So that will do it for this round. And next up, at some point, some more indicator titles. I will talk about those in the coming weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.